Testing the microphone. Is this working? All right, it should be fine. At least it's getting the output. All right, and with that, we are, let me see right here. And with that, we are live. Let me just adjust this. Go out of studio mode. All right. So this is my very first stream. I've never streamed before, so bear with me. So I'm streaming from two devices. I'm streaming from my laptop and from my desktop PC. So this may be unmanageable, but yeah, let's see what happens. All right, so the theme today is Ludum Dare 47. Let me see what we got already. Yeah, and the theme for, hey, what's up? And the theme for Ludum Dare 47 is stuck in a loop. All right, let me see if I can get their Twitter up. Never mind. But I have my drawing tablet here, and I'm just going to start like that. I hope that's nice and clear. Let me see if I can write this down. Stuck in a loop. I mean, on my screen it's not very clear, but I also don't have it full screen. Let me check over here. All right. So I mean, I saw this already last night, and I thought of some things already. What I want to do right now is just like start with like a general mind map sort of approach and just see what I can come up with in general. Like what kind of ideas I can get. So the first thing I thought of yesterday was just to do like, I don't know, kind of like a text-based adventure. Like I mean, like dialogue based. You have some dialogue options. Let's say you have like 3 dialogue options, and based on the dialogue option you take, you go into obviously a different dialogue option. So it's basically a dialogue tree. And then the goal of the game would be to get to the end of the dialogue tree. So there's only one right path. Let's see if I can demonstrate this a little bit. So let's say you have this kind of like a path set up for the dialogues, and then some of them, for example, they loop back to the beginning, or they loop back on each other, and then basically you have to get the right chain of dialogues to win the game, and then basically you can get stuck in a loop. That was my very first idea for this theme. So that would be like a dialogue simulator. And I was thinking of that one sketch on by the guys who made Monty Python. It was like the argument. You pay X amount of money for an argument, and then he just basically had like a looping argument. And I was thinking of just like making just like an argument simulator. So the most of the conversation here, the whole dialogue thing, is just a looping argument until you finally get somewhere to the end of the program, or to the end of the argument. Yeah, so that's option 1. And yeah, that's all I got. Well, I also was watching some other people stream yesterday, and I got some ideas from that. Like another one would be maybe to make some kind of sports game, or some kind of timed game where you then play against yourself to make the whole thing loop over. I don't know. It's an idea. It's one idea. So that would be like a time-based sports game. And yeah, I mean, what else do we have? So stuck in a loop, you obviously have the two words. You have stuck and a loop. It could obviously be just someone literally stuck in a loop. So there's the loop, like a hula hoop, and then there's a person, and he's stuck in it. Stuck in a loop. So he's this guy here, then B, stuck in a loop. Yeah. I don't know, what do we have? We have hula hoops, we have literal time loops. I don't know if you can tell this is a hula hoop. Or like, I mean, there's physical objects that are loops. So if we examine the physical objects that can be loops, that would be, I don't know, what is this? A donut. You can make a donut. Something about donuts. You have to eat as many donuts as possible. This kind of looks like the same shape right here, but it's not. The first one is just the inside, and then this here's... Here, let me make this a little bit more clear. So there's that, and then there's that. So this is a donut, and this is a loop right here. Yeah. This is a time loop. So I'm thinking the time loop, this sort of fits in the time loop category. Move this over a little bit. Yeah, so what would I do with donuts? I mean, that's... I don't think I mean, you can do, obviously, like, eat as many donuts as possible, but then how would that fit into the theme? That wouldn't be very, very suitable to the theme, I feel. Well, I mean, that you are eating the loop, but you're not stuck in the loop. Maybe you're stuck in the loop of eating the loop. Stuck in a loop of eating the loop. In that case, you could also use Fruit Loops. But honestly, I think that's kind of a dead end. Like, so far, my best, what I like most is the dialogue tree thing. But the thing for that is that you also have to make dialogue that is actually nice, that is actually at least entertaining. And I don't think I would be that good at that. So let's focus on this here a little bit. Time-based sports game. So obviously there's like racing games, I guess. You have you have your cars, I guess, and then you race your car in a loop, and then basically that time is recorded. Maybe not the time, but the path that you took is recorded, and then you race against yourself in the second lap, and then basically the goal is to get first place in the last lap, maybe. So you race. The idea here would be to race yourself multiple times. So yeah, and each time you would maybe take a different path, maybe slightly more optimized. I mean, it's an interesting idea, but I'll come back to that. So what else is there in the time-based sports category? You know, you could also do. This is probably going to be like done to death, but but there's probably going to be a whole bunch of platformers, um, platformers where you basically you do your path. So you go here, you're on your platform. Here's the goal, and perhaps let's say there's a platform up here, and perhaps there's no way to directly jump up here. So basically, what you would do is you would move your first character here, and you would reset the game, and then basically there would be like a ghost traveling there, and then you could jump on top of your ghost and make it over there, and then make it to the finish line. So that would basically be playing multiple realities, basically, or like a looping style character, kind of like in Braid, but that's more time travel. It's not necessarily loop. Another thing I thought of about looping is another platformer, but in this case, let's say you're walking, and you're in this sort of map section. This would be this would be a 2D map platform, and basically it would be kind of like a puzzle game, and you would basically, I don't know, you would have a scene set up, and here's like a flower pot or something, and basically either way you move, um, this scene here is just repeating. So you have your lamp and your flower pot. It just repeats over and over again either way you go. And basically the only way to move on or move to the next tile in the puzzle is to solve some sort of puzzle in this current scene that you're in. Maybe like maybe you could make it like breaking the loop. Breaking the loop by maybe adjusting one of the single pieces. So you adjust one of the pieces, maybe like you adjust. Let's say you knock over the lamp, and then you knock over the lamp, and then that's going to be different from this scene and, well, the default scene basically. So it's not the loop anymore. So basically, then it breaks out of the loop. I don't know. That'll be one idea. So to recap, we have the dialogue tree where you basically stuck in a loop of arguments. Then we have a racing simulator where you basically race one lap and then you race repeatedly against yourself. And then we have this platformer where you basically use yourself to get to the finish line. I would like to go a little bit more in depth on this one here, that the platformer, but I don't want to do this specific thing here because that's been already done way too many times, and it's been done way too many times in game jams, hasn't it? So if I take this here, by the way, is my audio okay? Can you hear me fine? Just a quick question. So maybe you can do something which has an infinite while loop going, and inside that loop you can place movement blocks which are executed in order. Inside that loop you can place movement blocks. Yeah, that's interesting, but that's also been done before. But I'll note it down. That's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought about that one. Hey Glub. So yeah, that idea was you basically have your while loop, and it's a loop, and you have your let's call them action blocks or something like that. And this might be like an up, left, down, and like a jump. I don't know how you would draw a jump, but you know, I'm gonna leave it out for now. And then you basically move like that repeatedly. And I swear I've seen that before, but who cares, right? Yeah, this is kind of a dead end here, the donut thing. I'm just gonna ignore that for now, honestly. But I do want to revisit this one here. So right now it's just like there's a ghost. You travel, you go to one point, and then you basically restart, and then your ghost travels to some position, and then you can use him to get to the exit. Like you can jump on his head, but that has of course been done before. So how would you put a spin on that? Obviously you wouldn't want to do something looping. It's hard to think about. Yeah, right now there's so many ideas floating around that I'm having difficulty just like trying to think about one idea. Also, because of the time limit, it's kind of stressing me out a little bit. Yeah, it's fine. What's fine? Oh, it's the audio. Okay, never mind. All right. Okay. So we have four ideas now. It's the dialogue thing, is this looping thing, maybe 5 ideas. Well, actually I don't know how I would implement this this racing game here. I mean, I guess you would implement it the same way you would implement the platformer. I think this one's kind of interesting. Like it's not something that I've seen before, but it's also challenging to think about a concrete execution for this idea. So you would have your tile, and then you would be able to travel back and forth, and it would basically loop. Maybe I can make it that it's 2 tiles looping, and you change 1 tile at a time. So maybe what we have is we have tile 1, and then we have tile 2, which is possibly I don't know what's going to be in this one, a car. I don't know how to draw a car. Yeah, you have a car. It's a door. Anyway, and you have a car here or something, and then so basically those are 2 tiles, and they loop over and over. You can walk in this direction, and you can walk in this direction, and these 2 tiles will loop repeatedly. So you have your plant thing again, and your lamp, and then on the next one would be the car again. So the idea is to somehow change there has to somehow be an exit out of the loop, right? From the previous level. Movement from the previous level in this one here. That's interesting. Yeah, and then that would maybe be like on a loop. It just does the previous level in a loop. Level design for that would be very tough, though. You can see the next level while you're doing the current one and plan ahead to make sure you'll be able to complete the next level too. That would be tough to design levels for, honestly. I don't see how I would manage to design a level for that. I mean, it's something to think about. I don't know how to draw that. So going back to this one here, you would want to find an exit out of the loop. So maybe the puzzle is to find like a hidden door or something like that. Like here, maybe the door is the car door. You get inside the car, and then there's like a parallel world inside there, and you're just looping again. Or you move this guy to the side, and then once you move that that drawer to the side, there's like a little grate, and you can go in there, and then you're in a different looping environment. And then maybe you can make it so that it starts with 1 tile that loops over and over, and then with with the preceding levels, there gets more and more tiles, so that is more and more difficult to find the exit out of the loop. All right, that's a full idea right there. I don't know how good it is. It might be kind of boring, but that's an idea, and at least that's one full idea right there. Um, the thing with the previous level, so you would let me try to design a level for that. Like, let's say level 1 is just a straight line. All right, this is level 1. So that's just like a straight line, and then level 2 would kind of like be onion skinned on top of that. And maybe it would be, maybe you would see here, I don't know how you would display level 2 on top of level 1. Would it just be like a change in opacity or something like that? Like a little bit less opaque? And then you would maybe have a pit here. You can't jump over that pit in level 2. So in level 1, you walk here, you pause for a minute, and then you walk to the goal or something. And then in level 2, well, you watch the guy walk there, and then you jump on top of him, and you go there, and then you go to the goal as well. See, but then what would level 3 be? So, I mean, see, in level 2, you would basically have your level. And then level 3 would be onion skinned on top of that. So you would have obviously the level 1 guy. He's waiting here, and then it'd be interesting if the level 1 guy was affected by the level design of level 2. Like, if there's a pit here, then the level 1 guy, he falls down that pit. So that would be interesting. So you would have to, in level 1, you would have to plan how your level 1 guy is affected in level 2. So you would have to like jump over obstacles and stuff like that. And then in level 3, I mean in level 2, you see level 3, and I don't know what level 3 looks like. Maybe level 3 has another thing like that. And perhaps I was thinking of adding like just a block right there, so that your level 1 guy is blocked and your level 2 guy is blocked, but that would be kind of mean, I think, from a level design perspective, because then it's something you can't foresee, and then you'd have to restart from the beginning just to jump over that little hoop with a level 1 guy. I don't think that's a good idea. I feel like every level in the future would have to build forwards upon the previous levels. Like, you can't have a level that retroactively affects like 2 levels behind. But this is a nice idea. I actually like it. So right now, all right, the thing, let's go back to this one here. The thing about this here is that it would be very easy to implement. Is basically just looping game objects, right? In Unity. It would just be looping game objects, and the difficult part would be the art assets, basically. But I mean, how many levels would I make? I would make maybe, I don't know, like 5 levels, because you would make maybe on the first one you would have one repeating tile, and on the second one you have two, third one three, and so on. So then you would always make more and more tiles. Replayability doesn't really matter in these kind of games because, you know, who's going to play them more than once, really? About this one, you would have to make a whole tile set for this. You would have to make like this tile, the corner tiles, the wall tiles, the interior tiles. I mean, that would just be a regular platformer, right? Unless you just make it very simple and make it all one tile. Maybe you can change the color. But I basically want to get the whole game done today so that I can work more on art and just like polish it tomorrow. Yeah, I think I'm going to focus on one of these two. So, what have we got? Honestly, I like both of them. Maybe I'll put it to a vote. Whoever's watching, you can vote on which one of these two here. So this one here is a looping platformer, where from level 1, the ghost of the ghost of your success right here is displayed in level 2, and then you use that ghost to solve level 2, and so on. And then this one here is just like a looping puzzle game where you just find the exit every time, and then with every level it gets more and more difficult. Tastes pretty good. With every level it gets more and more difficult to find the exit because there's just more and more tiles. How's that pen taste? Someone asked. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know. Brandon, what do you choose? Hmm. Who the fuck is Tizian? Okay. Whoops. You know what? I'm just gonna start with one. I'm gonna start with the easier one. I'm just gonna do this one here because honestly it feels easier to me. It seems like the easier option out of the two. right, that works for me. Okay, so move this out of the way. So what do I need? I need to open Unity. And make a new project. 2D mode, and it's gonna be looping puzzle. Tell me if the keyboard is too loud. If the keyboard is too loud, I can get out my other keyboard. All right, Unity's opening up. Let me just check out who's watching right now. Participants. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, you might as well subscribe. Yeah, Unity's still starting up. It's taken a while. It's probably because my CPU is being occupied. By the streaming software. But just bear with me real quick. All right, should be starting now. Importing scenes. So I'm just gonna quickly, I don't know, I'm gonna take maybe like an hour or 2 hours just to implement this this looping puzzles game, and then depending on how that goes, here we are. Depending on how that goes, I'm either gonna see if it's a good game, or I'm gonna move on to something else. So we have a blank canvas now. Lucid, you want mod? Add moderator. There you go. Now you're a moderator. Don't abuse your powers. All right. Just gonna take a sip of my coffee here. I can get right to it. Yeah, blank project on Unity. What the frick do I do now? Okay, so I'm probably gonna make a prefab. Create empty. Actually, I might just use shapes. You know, primitive shapes for now. Use like, what is this? What do I use? 2D objects. We're in 2D mode here. Sprite, I guess. What sprite can I use? I guess that. This song is kind of garbage. Okay. Draw mode sliced, because I think that one looks best when it's sliced. So this is just gonna be the floor. I'm gonna use this for the floor in all tiles. Yeah, and you can change the color, which is nice. So let me just change the scale. Whoa, that does not look sliced. Sprite tiling might not appear correctly because the sprite used is not generated with full rect. Kind of confused here. Well, all right. Let me just make a sprite then. Actually, what is up with the sprite here? I don't understand. If you make a user interface button, all right, doesn't matter. I'll just make a small sprite, I guess. Image, resize canvas. What is this going to be? 32 by 32. I'm just trying to recreate that one sprite. The user interface sprite. Okay, and I hope that's transparency in the background. Doesn't look like it, honestly. That's not transparency. So never mind that. Let me just undo this real quick. Okay, I have to use the eraser, not the... Alright, there we go. There we go. And there we go. Alright, that's the sprite. Files, save sprite. Desktop. Exit that, and then let's just import that sprite. Where did I save it though? That's the question. Like where is the sprite now? I saved it to the desktop, didn't I? Oh, there it is. Just right in the corner. All right, just put in the assets. I'm gonna make a new folder called resources. Actually, maybe res instead. And there we go. Put that sprite in there. Just rename it to placeholder floor. And then I can generate this here with full rect. Okay. Let me see here. Apply, and then there's a shape editor, and then you can use that. I don't know, is this how you do it? Oh yeah, this is how you do it. There you go. All right, there you go. And then you can just, that should tile automatically then. So if I go back to this sprite here and I change the sprite to placeholder, and yeah, that absolutely worked right there, didn't it? Maybe apply. Nope. No compression. Oh, okay, I get it. I get it. Let me go back. Here, and basically this has to be set to something low. Or higher, 200. Let's do something like 400. 1000. All right, nice. Yeah, that looks fine. That looks fine. Okay, so this is gonna be the floor. Let me just, I don't know, how big should one tile be? Just as big as the camera, I'm guessing. So let me just go like that. Just extrude it out, and I can just make the scale 60, 60 by 30, and that's the floor right there. Maybe we can make the floor a little bit larger on that size, on that scale. And then I would attach a rigid body to this thing, just to make sure that physics components collide with it. Let me just make this tile. Rename this here to floor. And now I can create a new game object and name it player. And then this guy is going to have also a rigid body, and it's going to have a sprite renderer. And the sprite that I'm going to use for the player is going to be the same sprite that I use for the floor, because I only have one sprite. And let me just, it's not working. All right, there we go. And of course I need to add a box collider. A box collider 2D for the collision detection. And it's just going to edit collider. It's perfect. It's perfect with the shape. Let me add a box collider. I don't know if I need a box collider. Do I need a box collider for the floor? Well, the floor just falls down. So let me make sure that the floor stays in place. Constraint freeze. Freeze the floor. And the player just falls through the floor. All right, so what the floor needs is a box collider 2D as well. No, it's not a trigger. I don't know if the player should be able to jump. Let me see. So, yeah, the box collider is probably just the shape, right? No, it's not. Let me just adjust that then. Can I do this automatically? Why isn't this the shape of the... Let me change the color of the floor as well. Let me make it like a... yeah, whatever. An orange. All right, now let's see if this works. Hey, look at that. That's a player right there. He's on the floor. And now I need to have a script to be able to control this player. So if I select a player, and if I add a component, and it's a script, it's gonna be, the script is gonna be player controller. and here we go, opening Visual Studio. Let me erase all of this first of all. Control K, Control D, and then do a rigid body 2D. Rigid body 2D. This is going to be the player. Player. Actually, honestly, I just need to call this RB. It's the rigid body. And then in start, I do RB equals get component. Yeah, so that's the rigid body. And then on update, so what controls should the player have? I'm just going to do, you should obviously be able to interact, probably with E, and then jump with space. And then move with WASD, I guess. Yeah. So if input dot key get key. The key obviously is going to be a key code dot D. Actually, I can do jump with W, but or maybe W can just be interact. Anyway, let me see. So this should actually be in fixed update because it's going to be physics based. So and then I do RB dot add force, and it's going to be force on the x-axis. RB dot act force new vector 2, and I don't know, float speed equals 10 vector 2, and it's going to be speed times 1, 0, and or it's just speed in that case, 0. And then what was it? Time dot fixed delta time. I think that's the one. So this just makes sure that it's it moves 10. It would move 10 units per second basically. So 10, and then this here ensures that it's per second. So let me see if that works. I can just start this up. And that does not work. It might actually work, but it might just be because this is not high enough. So if I turn that to 1,000, yeah, there we go. But now he's just gonna fall off the edge. So now I need to add a move to the left. There we go. Key code dot A. Then it's going to be minus speed. Very simple. And honestly, I might as well just add a jump as well. If input dot get key down, and this one's going to be keycode.w. Then I'm going to do rb.addForce. It's going to be the jump speed. It's just going to be a one-time thing, so I don't have to do per second thing. So then let me just do this vector 2 and 0 on the x-axis and jump speed on the y-axis. And then close that parentheses. And then of course, if you press it fast enough, you can fly, which is pretty cool. But it's actually not pretty cool because that is unwanted behavior. So I basically have to do this is what I have to do. Let me add a tag. Let me add a tag to this and call this tag floor. Is this the floor? No, that just added. What did I just add the tag to? I didn't add it to anything. Okay, that's good. Floor. Okay, now that object is tagged as floor, and now when the player collides with the floor, on collision enter 2D, and then on collision exit, I guess. So I'm checking if the player has collided with the floor, and then I do a bool. Actually, this is unnecessary. I do bool is grounded equals true, because at the beginning of the game he's going to be grounded. And then here I said is, well, I first have to select check the collision. Collision.gameObject.tag if equals floor, then I'm just gonna set is grounded equals true. So when is grounded is true, the player is going to be allowed to jump, and is grounded. Then I just do is grounded equals false over here. Okay. Yeah, so now he can only jump once. Sometimes that doesn't work, which is a little bit weird. Okay. All right, I don't understand why it doesn't work sometimes. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Disconnect that. Just save the scene. Oh, whoops. All right, there he goes. I think that's a little bit too strong, that jump. Let me decrease it. Okay, that's really weird. I guess he just sometimes doesn't want to jump. Wait, let me see something here. Maybe it has to do with fixed update. If I put this into update, is that going to be different then? Because fixed update is only called once every... Yeah, that's different. Okay, so it was because of the fixed update then. Only being called once every 200 milliseconds. So I guess input is actually probably shouldn't be done in fixed update. All right, you know what? I'm gonna get... Probably shouldn't be done like this, but I'm just gonna do this for now. Delta time and delta time. This is just the regular update time. So this is still per second. Nothing should actually have changed here. All right, he's jumping a little too high still, and whoops. Let me set this to around 250. So cut it in half again. And then get Unity over here. Alright, this isn't a platformer though, so you really shouldn't be moving this fast. Maybe you can just set his velocity directly. Instead of adding force. Speed. Yeah, that would definitely be more snappy. But let's see what that does. Also, 1000 velocity is probably a little bit too much. Let me see if that fixes the problem. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Let me set that to something like 10. All right, there we go. That's a lot more snappy, but yeah. It's also a little bit too fast. I'm just gonna make this public. Public and public. Then I can just change it in the editor. I select player. All right, now let me see here. All right, what's going on? Did he just fall down? Yeah, you fell down. And actually, let me. Is this actually gonna work if I just attach the camera to the player? Oh, I attached it to the floor, no, the player. Now the camera should just move with the player. All right, there we go. It's moving directly with the player right now. Yeah, that's probably not what I want. I probably want a much more gradual movement, and also when the player lets go, releases the move button, he should probably stop moving. So if input dot get key up key code dot d okay. So that just immediately stops the player. All right, nice. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's just the player rotating. Let me move the camera out of the player now. I'm just gonna attach a script to the camera. It's gonna be follow player. All right. Follow player. Yeah, let me open the script. It needs the player controller script. Player. And then what I'm gonna do is game object. Yeah, that's fine. In update, I'm gonna do transform.position equals vector2 dot lerp. This is kind of just like a smoothing action, and I'm gonna save the camera's old position right here, the vector2 old position. Old position equals transform.position. And I'm going to lerp from basically the old position. It's not going to be the position directly. It's going to be the old position. Equals, you know what? That's a lie. Actually, it should not be old position. It should be current position. Apply. Current position with 2 R's. Current position, and then lerp it to the player.gameObject.transform. Can I get a transform directly from this component? Not transform. Yes, I can. Dot position, and then the amount you want to lerp it by. And I'm going to make this public. So first of all, this is public. And then I'm going to make a public float lerp smooth amount equals 0.25. So this turns into this at a rate of 0.25 of this, I think, or 0.25 or 25% of the way every update. It's probably a little bit too much. Let me turn this to 10% is fine. Whoops. Smooth amount. Okay. One hour and 21 minutes have already gone by. That is a long time. Alright, let's see if this camera smoothing thing works. Let me move. Oh, wait, I didn't add the player to the camera. My bad. Player added to the camera. There we go. Now maybe it's gonna work. Hey, look, it doesn't work. That feels good. Why doesn't this work? Why doesn't this work? Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. Transform position equals current position. So actually I have to set the position, I can't just save it. There we go, and now that should work. Yeah, or not. What's the camera position right now? Okay. So what's going on here? Pause it. Oh, I think I get it. Basically what's happening here is this has to be a vector 3 because the camera is positioned in 3D in 3D space, and the player is positioned in 2D space. So if you position the camera at the player, it's going to be directly on the player, and then it has nothing to look at. So what I have to do is set the position to current position, and just set the current position dot z equals transform dot actually never mind, I can just do something like this. Vector 2 and then new var xy position equals, let me just move this guy, and then I do new vector 3 and do xy position dot x, xy position dot y, and then current position dot z, and then that should work. Hey, it's just a little bumpy right now, and that's because I'm doing this in update and not fixed update. Probably, I'm not actually sure. Oh yeah, look at that. There we go, it's a lot smoother now. And it also doesn't rotate when the player rotates. I should probably lock the player rotation so it doesn't go like that, for example. Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. So that's not a script. You go here and you do rigid body lock rotation. So now the player can't move, can't rotate. And there we go. The player is stuck in place. And he's also going to fall. All right. So that's the player movement done, and so I did that in 1.5 hours after the stream started. All right. So next, I would probably want to make this tile here, the floor tile. I would want to make it repeat. Yeah, I would just want to make it repeat. So let me just do that. Shouldn't be too difficult, right? Right. Let me add a script. Maybe not to that. Let me create a new. I think I should make a fixed size for every floor, just to make the tiling easier. And then I would take the transformed position and position the next one tile unit farther in that direction. All right, hold on for a second. I'm going to take a little break.
Already.
Oh, whoops. My microphone was off the whole time. That's kind of awkward. Okay. Now the microphone is back on, so now people can hear me. Okay, now I'm back to... Oh, whoops. My microphone was off the whole time. Okay. Okay, that works. XY position, and then XY position nods Y. Actually, that's the wrong one. It should be player trans. Oops, my microphone was off the whole time. Hold on for a second. That's kind of awkward. Okay. Now the microphone. All right, there we go. Okay. Wait, what did I just erase? Player.transform, position, .x, .y, and then current pause.z. Okay. This is such bullshit. So why isn't the... Oh, okay, that's what I'm doing here. All right, there we go. Yeah, of course that doesn't work. But basically, when you go in this direction now, it teleports you back. Okay, now I have to do the same thing for the other direction. And okay. So let me first just loop the tiles twice. I modulo 2 or modulo tiles.count. All right, instantiated tiles. Okay, then I instantiate basically. I'm gonna instantiate everything here twice, based on the I coordinate. And then I need to do it one more time. Wait a minute, what's... If I start this at minus 2. All right, that doesn't work. Indexed out of range. I guess modulo doesn't do negative numbers. let me do that, set that back to 0, and then I guess I can just do another for loop. And then this for loop is just going to be it's going to go from 0 to 1, and it's going to start at, actually it should go the other way around, right? Tiles.count. This is basically going to go in the other direction. So we had the one going from left to right, the tiles tiling from left to right, and now they have to tile from right to left. So basically, I render all the tiles 3 times, and instead of looping the tiles, I teleport the player to the starting position and the ending position. So this one starts at the end, and it goes to, what did I do? I is greater than equals to 0. And then I instantiate these tiles. Okay, and this honestly just needs to be I. Whoops, that should be modulo, not multiplied. Maybe it does actually work in that case. If I start at -2 now. All right, there's still an error. Never mind then. Let me just do it this way. All right, so I basically just take this tile, the last tile, and I set it at, that would be damn, it actually doesn't matter which way I iterate. It can be 0 as well. All right, and then I just instantiate a tile, and it should be positioned at, what is this going to be? Tile width times tiles.count plus, and it's going to be minus, and it's going to be, yeah, so if I have, oh boy, this is probably not going to work first try, but let me see how this goes. All right, that actually works. I wasn't expecting that. And I think I had just had a teleport right there. Yeah, look at that, it's just teleporting flawlessly. So now he's just walking, he can walk infinitely on the positive x-axis, and he just teleports back and forth, or back. And then if I go in this way, he's just gonna fall off the ledge right there. So now I have to make it not tile, but teleport in the other direction. So if he, I can make it like this. If player transform position x is less than 0, 0 minus tile width over 2.80f. Then set the player's position to something like this right here. Well, you don't even have to do 0, you can just do minus. And then, yeah. And that should actually be it for the looping. I just wait a bit for it to compile. Now it should be able to move the player in any direction, and he should just teleport. It should just be infinite now. So now he just goes infinitely in both directions. All right, so he is stuck in a loop now. And he has to find his way out of this loop. I don't know where the teleport is. It's pretty seamless actually. But yeah, on one of these things he should be teleporting back and forth basically. And this should be extendable by any amount of tiles. I could even have like a one layered level. Let me see. This would only have the orange tile, I think. And this works flawlessly as well. All right, that's nice. Okay, and I should be able to have any amount of these tiles. Whoops. Don't replace level. Placeholder 1. Get that over there. Okay, so that's the basic level design, and now I just have to design like a scene transition. So this is one level, and what I want is for there to be an exit somewhere. It can be hidden by some sort of interaction, some sort of puzzle system, I don't know. And then the player basically transitions on to the next level. Okay. And we're at 2.5 hours now. Okay, but that's actually some pretty nice progress so far. Okay, let me see here. All right, let me check this out. So what I want now, what do I need now? I need some form of interaction. So I need the user to be able to interact with the environment, basically to uncover the exit. So I need like interactable elements. And how do I interact with elements? I'm probably gonna have, let me see how I do this. I might have something like, I would have to put it inside the object, of course, here. So let me put something like create empty. All right, hold on for a second. I'll be right back. And we are back. All right. Exactly, interactable objects. So what I need, so the player spawns, where does the player spawn? He spawns like right in the middle, right? Right in the middle of the tile. So I would have to have it so that the entrance tile doesn't have anything, or I don't know, I don't think it matters actually. Okay. Let me just add a sprite again. Once again, this just this rectangle here. Actually, let me just draw up something here quickly. Connected. It's connecting. All right, these are the ideas. We just do something like optimize performance. All right, that's good. Let me move over here. Actually, let me minimize this. Oh, that's why. Okay, let's disable tablet mode. All right, then I would want to make a new CRITA file. Just, I don't know how large it's going to be. 300 by 100 is fine, I guess. It's basically 3 to 1. And then let me draw. I don't know, what can this item be? It's going to be like our first item that is just going to be placed in the scene. It's a placeholder item, obviously. Image canvas size, resize canvas. Let me resize this to something like 200. That works. Okay. So now I'm gonna draw. Let me draw like just a something really small, or something that doesn't take a lot of work. Okay, so that would be, oh my gosh, this is not working. Of course, the opacity is set to 0. I don't know what this is gonna be. Maybe like a bed or something. Ignore the bad art for now. This is very, very much placeholder. Let me erase some stuff here. me get a green pillow in there. Bright green pillow. Yeah, let me get the mattress color. Mattress color is going to be some bright color. And then I need to go back to that color there. So you just get the bed frame back in the image. Okay, let me fill this in. Yeah, that's not right. So there's a hole somewhere. There's a gap. There's a gap in this thing here. Maybe it's that right there. I don't know. Is this gonna work now? Nope. Let me... Hey, look at that gap right there. There we go. That should solve it. Okay, that's the bed. And maybe I can do it that you can interact with the bed and then it moves the pillow and there's a key in there and that opens the door. So let me add another layer here. And actually, let me duplicate this layer here. Let me go like this and do, what is this? Duplicate? Duplicate. And let me draw on this layer here. Let me erase. Let me get the color first. And then let me erase. So you're going to be able to interact with this bed basically, and then it's just going to move the pillow to the side. And the moving action is just basically going to reveal an item, and then you can interact again. And it's going to take the key. So if I just draw the pillow again now over here, let me just fill this in. And now the pillow's moved over there. I don't think I want to draw the key on the bed right here. I might just have like another layer. Delete that layer. I think first of all, I'm going to export both of these items here. So export, and then it's just going to be on the desktop. Actually, hold on. All right, let me just export these. And then I'll just import them into the painting, into the game. File, export. Okay, it's going to be bed 1. Let me reattach this keyboard. Typing with a pen is impossible. And then this one here is going to be the second one. Okay. Now I can just import those. And import those into res. So here are the textures, and let me just reset these to something like point filtering, no compression, and let me just put it into the scene immediately, see how it looks like. It's too small, right? So let me just scale that up. Actually, what is it? Let me see, what do I have this set to? Pixels per unit 1000. That's a placeholder, so it doesn't really matter. Pixels per unit. Wait, what does 1000 look like? Apply. Oh, whoops, that just okay, that's a lot better. Okay, so that's the bed that you'll be able to interact with. So you can just go to the bed, and then I'm going to add a component, and it's going to be a box collider 2D, and it's going to be a trigger. Basically, if you enter this trigger zone, you can interact with the bed. And then there's probably going to be like a little sprite that appears above the player's head. It's going to be the button that you have to press, like W. Or yeah, W probably. So wait, what's this right here? Let me delete that. Okay, and it's a trigger, obviously, so let me just add a script. It's going to be a small test script just to see if this trigger is working. On trigger enter 2D, and then I'm just going to debug.log. Trigger entered. Okay. So now the scene should start looking a little bit more interesting, maybe. It's just going to be a bed that repeats now. So here's green, and then yellow is going to have the bed again. Okay, look at that. So the trigger entered. It works perfectly fine. Currently I have W set to jump. I can have that, I can change that to spacebar. Whoops. Player controller code dot space. You know, I would like to do rebindable keys because not everyone can use WASD, but I could also do it to the arrow controls. I could just use WASD and arrow controls, because rebindable keys, that's something that is a little bit too challenging for the scope of this project. So let me just honestly, I'm just going to quickly change it to WASD and the arrow keys. Dot right arrow. Oh, it's or. Left arrow. And then or Let me just copy this twice. And then that should be, okay, that should enable movement with arrow keys. So now space is jump. Honestly, there's no reason for jumping. I don't know, maybe I'll add physics objects or something like that. Like a small jumping puzzle. But there's no real reason for jumping right now. And I honestly still feel the player speed is a little bit too fast. I can change that later though. So now I have to do an interact system. So maybe I can create an empty game object, call it, whoops, not in there. Create an empty game object, call it my events, and add a script, game events. And this can just basically keep track of events that can and can't be created, and that have been triggered at any point in time. So let me just make this a singleton. Game events GE. Actually, let me just call this current. And then in awake, I do something like this. I do if current equals null, then I do current equals this, and I do don't destroy on load game object. Otherwise, I destroy game object. So this just ensures that there's only ever one instance there's only ever one instance on this class here in the entire game, no matter how many times I attempt to instantiate it. So that's in awake, and then in I can make a bunch of events that I can call here. So let me make one event for interacting. Player interacts public event action. We pass in the player controller. And let me do on player interacted. And then let me do a method to invoke it, and it's going to be public void player interact. And let me add a player controller in there. Player controller, player. Actually, do I need the player in there? That's a question. Um, I don't think I need him in there. I don't think the player has to be in this action. And then I can do on player interacted question mark dot invoke. So it only invokes it if someone's actually subscribing to it. So that triggers that event. This method here triggers this event. And now if I go to this, maybe I shouldn't have a test script anymore. Let me delete that. What's going on here? End layout group, begin layout group must be called first. That's probably something else. Let me just delete this. And let me take the save. Let me take this. Okay, this is clear. Clear on play. Let me see, does the arrow come again? No, it doesn't. Okay. So, player controller, what I can do here is I can check if input.get key down, it's going to be the interact key, which is going to be keycode.w, and I'm going to do then game events.current. I have to make it public, of course. Dot player interact. And let me make it public static so that it doesn't get destroyed. Exactly. Okay. So game events.current, player interact. So it just invokes the interaction code. And then basically here, let me move this to the top. If I go into placeholder and I go into this guy here, now I can add a proper script. I can add a script bed handler. Yeah, bed handler, why not? Create an ad. Saving failed, check the console window. You're trying to create a prefab from the instance bed1 that references a missing script. This is not allowed. Oh, whoops. Remove component. Okay, so now here's the bed handler. And on start, firstly I do game events.current.on player interacted, and I subscribe to it with a method of my own, on player interacted. And I can just make this void on player interacted. Okay. And then I'm probably going to have a different sprite, but for now I'm going to do debug. Oh wait. If no, not if. What am I doing? Pool interactable. Let's do player within bounds equals false. And then also another one is called interactable. Okay. And then we do if interactable and player within bounds, then debug.log. Player interacted with bed. And then let me just validate that the player is within the bounds by doing something like this. So first save that, and go back here, save this, and then do player. I'm going to add a tag to the player. Clear that. And then we do if collision dot game object dot tag equals or isn't equals to player return. Otherwise we do player within bounds equals true. And here we do there's one more I have to do on trigger exit 2D, and this just makes sure that when the player leaves the trigger, then this is set to false. The player is not anymore within the bounds. So now when the player okay, now the player should be within these bounds, and now if I press W, we get the player interacting with the bed. And maybe it should work. I'm thinking right now, because if I interact with this bed here, and then move on to this bed here, this bed is a different bed, so it would behave differently. Honestly, I think I'm just going to ignore that for now. Like, maybe it's just going to be something people just don't notice. So let me go over here now. So what happens when the player... Okay, when the player can interact, it should... Maybe it should send an event as well. Maybe there should be an event for that. So if I go here and do public event action, player can on interactable void interactable on player interacted question mark no wait on interactable question mark dot invoke. So that invokes that, and then the player controller I have to add something into start to do game events dot current dot on interactable plus equals game events, no, plus equals on interactable from the player. And then I'm just going to add a method here, not public, but void on interactable. All right. And let me see here. I'm going to have on the player, create a new sprite on the player. Let me just add a knob. Why not? And also going to do something like this. Create empty. This is going to be the player now. Actually, that should be the player. That's, yeah, it doesn't really matter. And then this here is going to be the interact sprite. That should just be in there. There, and the player should be at 0, 0. Okay, and then this guy here be 1 and 1. And this is basically going to be the sprite that tells the player that you can interact with something. Like, this is going to show up. The player's script is right there. Let me move that into there. Actually, that's not going to work. Let me move that into there again. It has to go in here though. That's the issue. And then I have to move the rigid body into, damn it, remove. All right, why isn't this working? Rigid body 2D. Freeze the Z rotation. Remove this component. All this should have is a sprite renderer. Player component, and then I have to have a box collider 2D on this one. And make it basically the size of the player. Okay, and now this guy here is just going to be hovering over the player. That's just for now. Because if I go here and do a public game object, interact sprite, and set it immediately dot set active false, and then here on interactable I set it to true, and then I need one more event for when for when something is not interactable anymore. I'm going to do something like this. Integer interactable equals 0. Interact counter. Alright, this is going to be something to keep track of how many objects the player is currently within. How many interactable objects the player is within. So if he's within one interactable object, we do interactable counter plus plus. And then on interactable dot invoke on not interactable. And let's just do something like this, not interactable. And then the thing is, what I want to do here is I'd have to do interact counter minus minus. And then if I do interact, if the interact counter is less than equals to 0, then invoke not interactable, because then actually nothing is interactable. All right. So, what are we doing? Okay, here we are. Player controller. Collision.gameObject.tag was floor. Okay, this is the wrong one. Here we are. On interactable. And I add one more. On not interactable. And there, and get this thing over here. Void. Okay, and then interact sprite dot set active equals to false. So now, when the player runs into this this bed, okay, there's a reason for this, and it's because I didn't add the sprite to the thing. The interact sprite is not available. All right. Now, what's going on here? Null reference. That's what I like to see. Object reference not set to an instance of an object, which is the player. Oh yeah. So let me go here because I changed the player, so I have to do this again. And what's this? It's repeat tiles. Players in there as well. So in a level probably, right? There we go. Okay, this should work now. Okay, now when the player enters this bed area, nothing should happen. That is odd. Wait, do I even... I don't even invoke it, do I? Repeat tile? No. Bed handler. What I do is... on trigger enter, what I do here is I basically say game events dot current dot on interactable, invoke that one, interactable. And then here, I do not interactable. So that increases the counter and the other one decreases the counter. There we go. Not quite though, because it doesn't look like it's working. Let me see what happens here. If I attach it to Unity and then run it, set to 1. All right. Okay, I'm doing something wrong here. It is in fact, I do on interactable and not on not interactable. That was a mistake. Let me stop running that and run it again. All right, there we go. So now that basically just shows the player, hey, you can interact with this object right here, and it should work with everything. All right, and then when you press the W key, he actually interacts with it. All right, and honestly, I think at this point, 3 hours into the stream, I'm just gonna take a 30-minute break or so, and then I'll be back. Alrighty, and we're back. So I've had some... Let me quickly just set the volume a little bit higher. Gain. Set that to like 13%. Alright. So I've had some time to think about it. And... honestly, I think that this game that I'm making here, it has like some potential, but I don't know if it's the way to go for the game jam. Like there are some complications with it that I'm not sure I could figure out in the time limit. But there was one other idea I had about for game jam, and that was also recommended by one other person, Corona Emmanuel. He suggested that, and his suggestion is basically what I had before in the editor. You go through the levels, and then you play basically with your you use your ghost as another obstacle that you can jump on to help you get to places you couldn't have reached before, and basically that would go through the levels, basically onion skinning your way through the entire game. I thought that was a really good idea, but I wanted to give this thing here a try first, and I'm still not sure if this is the right way. This game might be the way I go. But I just need some more time to think about it. And for now, I'm actually pretty exhausted, I would say. Like my brain has kind of reached its limit for how much it can code for now. I might get back to it later in the day, but as of now, I'm kind of done with coding. Yeah, I might stream again tomorrow, depending on how I'm feeling, but I definitely will finish this submission, if it does involve like a pivot or not, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. But until then, have a nice day, and I'll see you in my next video. Also, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to click that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And with that, I'll just end the stream.